Yep.
And yet, this is absolutely driven by the fact that the media was merciless about Pam Bondi's cover-up of the Epstein files.
Right.
They
Also,
kept calling
but the
her
MAGA
bullshit.
media too. But the MAGA media too.
Actually,
Yeah.
you were 100% correct. I was just getting there. You got ahead of me.
Sorry.
100% correct. No. But the horrific nature of her cover-up of Epstein was so bad that even Fox couldn't ignore it. Even OAN and Newsmax and all the MAGA online garbage couldn't ignore it. And so we may have a moment right now where the vulnerability of Trump's mental processes, he knows how bad Epstein is for him.
She was the Attorney General of the United States. She had the files. She had the power. And when the moment came to open the door, she handed America a binder full of lies. Pam Bondi didn't just fail the Epstein investigation. According to sources now leaking from inside the White House itself, she was placed there specifically to suffocate it. And the people who put her there just threw her under the bus. Here's what they don't want you to connect. When Bondi walked into that congressional committee hearing, she arrived with binders. Physical binders handed to MAGA influencers, Trump's most loyal base, filled with documents that turned out to be nothing more than public information anyone could find online. These weren't classified revelations. These weren't hidden files. This was a performance, a carefully staged illusion of transparency designed to make the Epstein story disappear quietly.
And I think they made a giant mistake. Todd Blanche rolled out on Friday and said, "We've released all the Epstein files. It's over. It's done. Fuck you. Shut up."
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Let me tell you something. That ain't gonna roll. I was texting with a member of the committee, a Democratic member of the committee last night. I said, "You're gonna take this laying down?" He goes, "Oh no, my friend, we are not."
Yeah. But it's also, she also, remember, she ran afoul of MAGA influencers who are Donald Trump's core constituency. She gave them those binders with the Xeroxes of stuff you can find on the internet, and they were so embarrassed. They posed for photos, then they went home, they looked in the binders, and they were like, what the actual fuck? And then those people committed the next 7 months to getting her fired, and it's a cautionary tale for not being a complete moron.
The influencers went home, they opened the binders, and then they spent the next 7 months demanding her head. But here's what nobody's telling you yet. Bondi wasn't working alone. There was someone else in that building who had been quietly sharpening the knife for months. His name is Todd Blanche, Trump's own attorney, a man described by insiders as significantly smarter than Bondi and significantly more dangerous.
Well, listen, she also didn't understand. I wrote a piece about this called "Knives Out for Bondi" yesterday. Blanche was going to do this to her no matter what. Blanche is the guy who's much smarter than Pam Bondi. And I will tell people, Pam is not dumb. She's not a moron. She's also not
Kristi Noem. Right.
Yeah, right. She's not Kristi Noem, but neither is she, some sort of mad, high-level strategic thinker. She's very obedient. She's very good at being the good girl, the good guy for the big boss. When she was in Florida, she was basically like, "What does Jeb want? What does Rick Scott want?" When it's Trump, it's what does Trump want? So, but Blanche viewed her as a way to take some of the air out of the Epstein balloon so he could step.
According to sources extremely close to the White House, it was Blanche who went to Trump, went to Susie Wiles, and systematically argued that Bondi was an embarrassment, that her committee performance was amateur hour, that she could have buried the Epstein story cleanly, and instead she turned it into a spectacle. Blanche didn't just critique her, he positioned himself as her replacement.
And I had heard from somebody very adjacent to the White House that Blanche was the guy who was rallying other people to go to Trump and to go to Susie and say, "Come on, she's embarrassing. She's hurting you."
Right.
And her big performance that she gave in front of the committee, the Dow 50,000 performance.
That was great.
I was told that Blanche said to him, "That was embarrassing. That was over the top. She could have been more subtle. She could have handled it better. She could have really embarrassed them. That was amateur hour."
Which is
or
not
something,
wrong.
or words to that effect.
Not wrong.
And then came Friday. The DOJ announced with stunning arrogance that all Epstein files had been released, that it was over, done, move on. Within hours, a Democratic member of the congressional committee was privately telling sources, "We are not taking this lying down." The subpoena issued to Bondi was issued to her by name, not by title, not to the office of the Attorney General.
Blanche, the arrogance of that
Blanche already
man,
has that job, though. Really.
Right. The arrogance of Blanche, though, I think is going to, the uppance is coming, as they say, for Todd Blanche, because He's now, as Thomas Massie said, thanks, glad you took the job. You now have 30 days to comply, because that's the law.
Right.
And the other part of this is Bondi doesn't go away. Remember, the committee issued the subpoena to her by name, not to her by title. She's still going to be up there testifying.
In 2 weeks. Yeah. I'm curious.
To Pam Bondi, the individual, which means firing her changes nothing. She is still legally required to testify in 2 weeks. And that's when this story becomes something else entirely. Because Bondi now sits in the most dangerous position of anyone in Trump's orbit. She knows what's in those files, the real files. She knows what was hidden, what was redacted, what was quietly buried while America was handed paper theater. And the people who put her in that job are now her enemies. Sources say the shock inside her inner circle right now is unlike anything they've seen. A lifetime friend described the humiliation as through the roof.
Who's not Susie Wiles.
Not Susie Wiles. But the shock and embarrassment right now is through the roof. And look, if you are Pam Bondi, you're going to have one of two things. One is, and this happened a lot in the first administration, people will say to you, well, you've been fired, but you know, you could still come back. You could still, he forgives people. She's not coming back in the next 2 years. That's it.
Right.
This is over for her.
Right.
And so she's got to be thinking on one level, you know, I don't want to cross the president. I don't want to get Todd Blanche to pursue me. Because believe me, there is a world where the DOJ starts investigating Pam Bondi.
She begged, according to insiders, to stay on through summer. She was removed like a problem, walked out, done. Now she faces a choice that almost nobody around Donald Trump has ever had the courage to make. She could stay silent, stay loyal, and still face congressional investigations that, as one analyst put it, will follow her until she's dead. Or she could pull the curtain back entirely, tell America what she saw, what she hid, what the Epstein files actually contain, and who is actually in them.
Vulnerable. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but if she does turn, Pam Bondi has a chance, again, to do something nobody else does around Trump. Is to just pull the fucking whole curtain back and go, I'm sorry, America. I bought into it. I was part of the most corrupt cover-up in history. Here's what I know from the Epstein files. Here's what we're hiding. I think the chance of her doing that is like 0.00001.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems very slim.
Yeah, it would be very sort of Aaron Sorkin if she did, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I have little faith in the moral courage of Pam.
The DOJ says it's over. Congress says it isn't. Bondi's testimony is 2 weeks away, and somewhere in Washington, the people named in those real files are watching every move she makes. The question isn't whether the cover-up existed. The question is, who exactly were they protecting, and how deep does this go before someone finally breaks?
Clearly that $220 million for the videos, like that is sort of like a bridge too far. Do you think do you think like they will get charged with fraud? And because clearly like that, you know, like, do you think that was a sort of a decision that's what's coming next?
I think they will get charged. I think also there's a thing in government called a QTAM lawsuit, which is where a whistleblower can bring a lawsuit about government fraud and collect a percentage of it.
Oh.
So
what an opportunity.
Right. So some staffer or minion at some point got an email or was on a call or and look, there's no way they spent $220 million without essentially a cap table of who's going to make money off of it.
Right.
And I promise you, Corey has some side deal. Nobody in this Trump world makes a damn dime unless the family gets some vig.
If you want the full story as it unfolds, subscribe to Starscope Daily right now, because this is only the beginning.